On your lip gloss?
Yeah. Get my volume turned up. All right, we should be good to go. Let me just check. All right, we are all set live on Facebook and YouTube. So we will go ahead and get started. So good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us today for our network welcome. I'm Jamie Chavez. I'm the president and CEO of the Westminster Chamber of Commerce. And every Wednesday, we bring to you a live broadcast featuring one of our newest chamber members to introduce them, give them a chance to tell them all about their business. If you're new to the broadcast, thank you for being here. We appreciate it. I encourage you to like and follow our Facebook page. If you're on YouTube, you can subscribe on YouTube and also watch our previous broadcasts there as well. We also offer broadcasts on Mondays, which are dedicated to city updates from our city councilors, mayor pro tem, mayor, and other city officials. And so that is kind of your backstage pass to what's going on down at City Hall. So we hope that you tune in for those as well. And then we reserve Fridays for county updates featuring our newest county commissioner, Jefferson County Commissioner Rachel Zenzinger. She'll actually be on with us this Friday at 9 a.m. So hopefully you can tune into those broadcasts to be informed on broader county matters. So as you watch the broadcast this morning, we encourage you to engage with us, drop any comments, ask any questions, simply say hello, and we will get to your comments during the interview. And now a warm welcome to Scott and Joseph. Oh, and it looks like Kim's joined us too. Let me get her added. Good morning. And you're on mute, Kim, just so you know. There we go. Good morning.
Good morning.
And these are our friends from All Dry Services of North Denver, Boulder. So welcome this morning. Thanks for joining me.
Well, thank you for having us. We certainly appreciate it and are certainly excited to let everybody know who we are and what we do.
Yeah, awesome. Well, we'll just jump right in and you guys can do an introduction. If you each want to do a quick introduction and just tell us about All Dry Services.
Who's first?
Great. Kim. Kim is our CEO.
All right. Hi, I'm Kim Powers, CEO, co-owner of All Dry Services, North Denver, Boulder. And we have been in business for about 3.5 years. And just are really passionate about the service business, and which is why we went into property damage restoration.
Great.
I'm Scott Powers. I'm the co-owner as well, and I handle like the operations side of things, scheduling, inspections, and that sort of thing. Like Kim said, we've been in business 3.5 years now. We're a franchise out of Jupiter, Florida. We're women and veteran owned, and we also even have a staff member that's also a veteran. So we're heavy on those parts for to keep in check of that our customers understand that, you know, we are a small business. We're here to take care of you.
Great.
And I am Joseph McWhirter. I'm the Director of Business Development for the North Denver Boulder franchise here. And I am out there shaking hands and introducing our services to those in the community because we are a servant-first organization. Our goal is to serve everybody to the best of our abilities. The restoration world is not anything different or any other business that hasn't been around for many, many years. And perhaps it may have a black eye on it because people have done shady things in this business. But I think that's where we come in and we're all on the same page with Kim, Scott, and myself of, you know, we like to operate with a high level of integrity, a high level of honesty, and we're there to help you through the process, whether it's a large loss in a large building where we have to work with the insurance company and the adjusters, or whether it's the 96-year-old man in Brighton that had a 2.5-foot flood in his basement and he needed help. So we were actually able there to help him and them. And I think that's what really stands out about this franchise is we are really there to help people and to serve them.
Great, thank you. We had some people joining us this morning. Good morning, Dave, Parker, Rich, and Dominic. Thanks for joining us, and a few other people on today. So maybe we can just start with what makes your company unique in the restoration industry.
Well, Scott, you want to take that?
Yeah. Well, I think where we differentiate ourselves from a lot of the other restorers is our approach with our customers. Whether you're using insurance or not, whether it's a commercial building or a small home, large home, we take everybody's case by case basis and we walk them through the process and we explain what we can offer as far as financing. So we really feel like we can connect better with our customers. And when we're completed with the process, we want to make sure that there's no other outstanding anything with them, and they generally like the service we provided, all the way up to making it put back the way it was before the loss started.
Yeah. So what types of restoration services do you provide? Like, who are your primary customers?
Well, I mean, we have a lot of insurance agents that have referred us in the past. That's probably one. We do use lead services still as well. We also, this is Joe's department where he's meeting with property managers. He's getting in with the chambers as like Westminster as well. And we're all just kind of hands-on with those folks to, give us, the chance to go service, somebody that you may know, or it's a rental that, we want to take care of your renter when it comes to those cases as well.
And just to add to that, I would say one of the differentiators is, for the homeowners, we have the ability to offer them financing. When somebody has a flood or has a disaster happen, it's a shock to them. So they're, do I have to come up with the money? What do I do? Do I call my insurance agent? Do they have to come out? Is my insurance going to go up? So there's many things going into, what we're doing. And so we have to kind of be there, be that shoulder for them to cry on a little bit, but really assure them that we're going to help you get through this. And we can not only, do the restoration of this, but we can bring in partners to help you in anything else. Most restoration companies don't do the build back. So we'll go in there and do the demo of the restoration, whether it was a water job, a fire job, or a mold job. And then a lot of times other restoration companies may leave people there once they're done. Okay, you have to go find somebody now to rebuild this. So we've been out there creating partnerships with other vendors that can do this, as well as other restoration companies that can do this. And that's one of the things that I do really like about this industry, is that it is a brotherhood and sisterhood industry. So we all are competing with each other, but at the end of the day, we're all trying to help the customers that we can solve their problems.
Awesome. So what are some of the most common water, mold, or fire damage issues that you see in kind of the Westminster, greater Denver area, Boulder area?
Believe it or not, if I was to kind of divide up those services we provide, we do probably more mold jobs than water jobs or fire and smoke, or, we even have an opportunity to do a crime scene yet, but we will hopefully soon. It's just a matter of how people are approaching that. Some people are deathly afraid of the mold part of it. We're there to kind of make sure that they're safe and that they are taken care of in that aspect. Other people, it may be, my water heater had broken everything, but I cleaned it up myself. And that's fine. This is something that a lot of people don't understand about, well, what could happen later as a result of not drying and those kind of things. But if we don't get the call, we don't know. But when we do, even if it's just educating them, we're happy to do that as well.
And with the new laws,
I think there's a bit of a fallacy too, that, we live in Colorado, it's a dry climate. And so the likelihood of mold is pretty low. And that's pretty far from the truth. Mold can grow within 24 to 48 hours in any wet environment, given the right conditions. So, and mold can present health issues for people who are very sensitive to it. So So I would say a majority, I would say about 50% of our calls are mold calls. And, there may have been previous water damage, or there may be an active leak that needs to be fixed. I think we are certified in mold remediation, and we are looking at some other certifications to help with it's called SIRS, which condition, which can be caused by mold. And so looking to get more into that as well.
Awesome. Thank you. So what should a homeowner or a business owner do like immediately if they experience water or mold damage?
I would say the first thing they do is, reach out to someone like a restoration company to go out there and take a look. Have a professional. Every vendor out there, every restoration company out there is doing it. They're all certified in IICRC certification, which is an international standard of certifications. So you want to have a professional come out and take a look at it. Sometimes the average homeowner, they don't know the difference between mold and mildew. Right. So sometimes they think it's mold, and we go in there with we scrub it and it's okay. That was just mildew. There wasn't any active mold spores in there. And then what we like to do from a stage 1 or step 1 is let's test the environment, right? If you're showing symptoms of health concerns, then let's test the environment and see what we can come up with. Scott has, water meters and tools that we can use to see what the moisture levels are behind the drywall or in the carpeting or in the flooring. That would give him an indication of, there is either an active leak or there was an active leak there. So now we're just going to systematically go down the process of, okay, where is this leak at? We want to stop that leak. Once we do that, now we can start remediating and ensuring that your environment is clean. We do a pre-test and we do a post-test to give you the median scores of the spore levels in your environment.
Got it.
And what's important about those mold tests is you now have documentation. These homeowners now have something in place that, yes, there was mold. Mold was levels of mold are now in acceptable levels. A sale of a home, that's one of the things the inspector is going to be asking is, have you ever had any remediation? Have you had a loss? Can you provide any proof that, remediation was done? And they have all of that. So that's another good, I would say, selling point. But as far as going through those steps is important, down the road, whether it be 20 years from now or you're going to move in 2 years, it still stands as long as there's not another loss or of the same loss. Those things can happen, but again, document, have that proof for the next homeowner.
Yeah.
Not just that, but have the proof for the insurance agent as well. You want to protect everybody from any liability issues in this world in today's age. So documentation never hurts, and we try to do that, early and often.
Got it. Thank you. So you mentioned like the difference between mold and mildew. Is there a way to tell? Can the average person tell the difference, or do we have to call you guys in to do the testing, or like is it a matter of looking at it, or what's the difference there?
I would say so. As a restorer that is not a mold tester, but I am a mold remediator. I can't look at something and say, oh, that's mold. I can't say that. I can say that's suspected growth. And whether it's something that I feel like is more permanent and permeating within a structure versus something that's, little gobs of something that is because you didn't have good ventilation in your bathroom and all that moisture is collecting on the paint, and it's got a little bit of a source to feed from, and you can easily clean those things. So I'll at least educate the homeowner as to what I think it is and what I feel like they should do next, as in terms of if it's a mold test needed or not. Let's just back up and say there isn't growth so much as these other things that I've seen before in my experience, where this is cleanable. You should get your exhaust fan replaced or upgraded. You want to have good ventilation, airflow in your bathrooms. If you like hot, steamy showers, this is going to continuously keep coming back. And then there's other methods too. It's like clean it, dry out the room, and paint over it with some Kills paint, the moisture resistant stuff, so that will help combat that as well. If you can't quite evacuate air fast enough in the bathroom environment when you're taking showers or whatnot.
Do you see a lot of mold from like that situation in showers versus actual water damage? Would you say that that's more common or less common?
It just takes longer when you have like the high humidity environment and higher heat. Those are the two factors that will actively start growth within the usually drywall. So if it's really old drywall, paint, old home, that's just consistently going to happen versus, newer homes. It's a quick clean and then that's it. Hopefully that answered the question.
Yeah, definitely. And so are there any like big misconceptions about restoration services? Do you get like weird calls or what are some of the misconceptions about your industry?
Bleach definitely does not work. So please do not use bleach on your mold. Honest to goodness, if there's anything I've learned in the year, do not use bleach on mold. It doesn't work.
Got it.
And it doesn't solve the problem. It's, again, addressing, what the root cause of the problem is. We've seen a lot of bathrooms that have smells in them, and that the smells from the drain. So there's either something underneath the drain in the, what is it called? It's got the PTAC area where the water gets, trapped in there. And then like Kim said, once it reaches a certain temperature, mold can start growing very quickly. And sometimes the only way for a restoration company to figure it out is to cut open an area. Right. And when we do this, our goal is to, do this at the lowest possible level. So you're not having a large build back cost. So, but sometimes you do have to do that to find where the leak is, because you have to stop the leak. That's the only thing that's going to really stop the mold.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I have a question kind of geared towards Joseph. You've been really out in the community, getting to know people, getting the All Dry Services name out, and just kind of building those partnerships. Are there any partnerships or initiatives within the community that you all are involved in right now?
None that we are involved in at this moment, but we are. I'm still certainly talking to different folks about different programs that we can work with them within the chamber itself, because it's all word of mouth and it's availability. There's at least 80 different let's call them competitors in just the Westminster area alone. So it's just getting out there and knowing them, knowing their capabilities, and then bringing it full circle to everybody to really bring them a full solution. Like, I'm not just going to come and fix this and then leave you. I'm going to come and make sure that everything is taken. If I have to bring in some of our partners to do this, that's what I'm going to do. What I have enjoyed about the chamber is, everybody is willing to, introduce us to the different folks around, the different business decision makers, because it is, again, a jolting thing that happens. I had a pipe burst in a building. What do I do? We just had this happen the second week in January. We met with the folks that we rent our office space that Scott is in, and gave them the pitch, and we didn't hear anything from them the whole year. And January 6th, it went down exactly like I told her. It's going to happen. The pipe's going to break. You're going to panic. You're not going to know who to call or what to do, and then it's going to hit you. I have a guy. And that's exactly what happened. She had a guy, and she called us. And, Scott and team, we were there on, boots on the ground within 30 minutes, helping clean up a Cat 3 water spill. So
Yeah.
it's again, just trying to be there for everybody that we can. And, we know that if we can't be there, we'll bring in partners to be there for us, because it's all about, again, helping the person or organization that needs the help the most.
Yeah. Awesome. Parker says, this team is great, honest, professional, and all around great people. Thanks, Parker.
Oh, thank you.
And so can you share a memorable story? You just talked a little bit about one, but another memorable success story where you've helped a family or a business recover from like a real disaster?
There's several stories that I think we can go into. I shared the one earlier today about the gentleman in Brighton. He was 96 years old, and as we were in there, and this was my first or second day on the job, and Scott has me out on the job learning the trades, and all of this contents down in his basement were just getting soaked with the water. And we were asking, okay, well, what are you going to do with this, this stuff? It obviously has water in it. Luckily, it wasn't sewage water. I believe it was just clean water. But we just made the decision to help them remove the contents from down there because they didn't know what they were doing. They were still in, like, I don't know how we're going to do this. There was 2 feet of water. We did have to get some tests, and I believe Scott had to talk with the adjuster and, basically just say, this is why we had to do this. This is why we had to do that. And because Scott had all of the pictures when we first got there, all of the documentation he needed, it made it easy for the adjuster to agree or disagree with what Scott had to do. Scott wasn't trying to do too much or go over the threshold. There were certainly some other things that we can do, but we were able to keep the cost contained to a palatable level for the homeowners there. They didn't want to use the insurance at the time. They didn't want to wait for it. But more importantly, they weren't going to be able to hire, a crew to come that day to remove contents out of there because it was a lot of stuff that they had to donate to, a charity. And so we did that. And, I don't believe Scott didn't put anything on that bill to cover that. That was just us doing the job for them and getting it done for them. And I felt good about that. When you can feel good about doing things like that for folks, it's great. We had a hotel that we went into and, we smelled it. We're like, okay, we didn't know what it was. And instead of charging the hotel, any money, Scott said, here, use this, bio-esque, and it would kill the smell, but you have to get up underneath there, remove the shower because the PTAC probably has mold around it. And the guy was able to do that, and we didn't charge him any money for that. And so it's just building those types of relations. This is a big hotel in the Boulder area that's going to help set us up for success as we continue, our journey here in the Westminster Chamber and in the Northern Boulder area.
Yeah. And then what about response time? Are you guys 24/7? What are your hours? When can people call?
Yep, 24/7 emergency services. So you probably shouldn't call me at midnight that you got mold, in your home. I'll probably schedule something during the day for that kind of thing. But yeah, mostly it's water loss. Sometimes fire could happen overnight. Our response time is between an hour to an hour and a half, depending on where it is geographically, because we need time to get to our shop, mobilize our folks to the location, and then map it and call the people saying we're on our way, all that communication that we need to have so that they know when we're going to be there and they can fully start not freaking out so much by the time we do arrive.
Yeah. And so you guys unfortunately get to deal with people when they're not at their best, right? They're going through something pretty crummy. They probably got some damage, maybe some important things that have been damaged. How do you help ease the stress for your customers who are dealing with that unexpected damage and loss?
That's a great question. And I think it's, having empathy. We have to be very empathetic about the situation, but we have to be reassuring in the fact that, we are going to get you back to the Mendoza line, right? We're going to get you back to where you were, and here's how we're going to do it. So it's just walking them step by step through the process of, whether it's water or in the situation where we did clean up after a fire, it was just coordinating. We needed a carpet person to come in. Okay, let's clean the air vents. So we brought in our partner that cleans the air vents. And so we really kind of acted as almost like that general contractor of, we're quarterbacking this situation for you. You just relax. You sit back. We're going to take care of that for you, and answer any questions you may have. And, okay, yeah, you want to get in hold of your insurance? Absolutely get in touch with your insurance company. And then, as we've learned in some of the bigger jobs, if we need, we can bring in our own adjusters. If you want to combat with what the insurance adjuster is saying, we can, make it a level playing field. So now our adjuster can come out, take a look at their insurance policy, and then work with the insurance adjuster to make sure that we're all, talking about the same things. We're talking about the coverages that were needed and the repairs that are going to be done to get them back to a normal, level. In the business world, it's all about getting them back to doing business, whether it's getting their IT services back up and running so they can run POS systems, or whether it's getting the lobby, cleaned up and presentable because you're in a, big hotel and you got other conference people coming in. So, it is our ability to get in there, do the job efficiently, effectively, and then get out of there without anybody even knowing that we were there.
Yeah, great.
And if I might want to add to that, the personal aspect with the customer is asking them, what do you wholeheartedly need to make sure that you want to have saved? If it's at all possible from a fire or water damage, anything of that nature, we want to ask that so that, we can take that burden off that, okay, we're going to attempt to clean these things. We say attempt because we don't know if we're going to be successful with everything. Sometimes some things are just not salvageable. So once that's been taken care of, that's a great burden lifted off of them. They feel better that, okay, my most prized possessions are taken care of. The rest of it is replaceable. But at the same time, we want to coach them through that insurance adjuster process with them to say, hopefully you have documentation that this is worth, what they're going to replace it as. Otherwise, you're going to get something probably not as good. Like a 65-inch TV 10 years ago costs a lot more than it does nowadays. So you're not getting the apples to apples. You're getting just the replacement. It's the same type of TV, same size, but they didn't have to spend as much money to replace it.
Yeah.
As an example.
And we've obviously been having some very cold temperatures. Probably people are experiencing some pipes freezing and bursting. What are some preventative steps that you give to homeowners and businesses to kind of minimize the risk of, water damage during times like these?
We try to be like the great stewards of this. A couple of years in a row, I probably put out onto, say, Nextdoor and said, folks, freezing temperatures coming up. Here's some things to safeguard yourselves from your pipes freezing. One of them is anything that's close to your exterior. If there's a pipe in your crawl space or an exposed pipe that's in the basement, make sure you got more than adequate insulation between the wall and the pipe. There's even foam, they look like noodles or whatever, foam noodles that go over the pipes to help them stay warm. Sometimes opening up your cabinets, letting the water drip. You probably heard of those mostly for apartment complexes because there's so much more pipe running through every single unit. And so that's why they say, make sure those drip, make sure your cabinets are open. And you know what? Sometimes it's just going to happen, but we at least gave you some forewarning. Maybe a lot of you dodged that bullet and some of you didn't. Call us and we'll take care of that for you.
Awesome. Great.
We post on social media too, preventative measures that you can take. We all post it. We're probably all using ChatGPT, but tricks of the trade is just getting people aware that, hey, the cold weather's coming. Here's what could happen. And then here's the things you could do. But we are posting on social media what people can do, and we're sharing it with everybody.
Awesome. Great. Well, thank you guys so much for joining me this morning, and thanks for all the viewers. We had a good amount of viewers today, so thanks everyone for tuning in, and appreciate your membership in the chamber and how you've jumped in to really get involved, and so look forward to working more with you.
Awesome.
for having
Thank you
me.
so much. Everybody be careful out there in this cold weather.
Yeah. All right. Happy Wednesday, everybody.
All right.